Hey man, how's it going?
It's going great. How are you?
I'm echoing over here, which is weird. Did you hear that too?
Totally.
Yeah.
You sure?
Makes it feel spooky.
Yeah, it does.
Halloween's
I thought it was the voices in my head. That's why I was saying that.
I'm glad they're not the voices of mine.
So talk to me about first of all, the song sounded great. I know you don't usually play it on acoustic guitar, so
No,
thank you for that.
Well, I play a lot on acoustic guitar, but not on a classical guitar. So it makes
Right.
me want to buy one and just
Right.
kind of start messing around with
You could just take this with you. I'll look the other way. It's cool.
Perfect.
Yeah. Well, not
Makes it
really.
easier.
Take the small one. There we go.
My hands won't fit.
So let me talk to you about the EP, and I guess the first thing is, when you go into the studio and you're recording it, I mean, are you thinking EP all the way? Or are you just thinking, whatever happens, if I have enough for a full length, then so be it?
On this one, it was really, we consciously went in with a decision to do an EP, and it wasn't really because of lack of material. We've really got an abundance of material, actually, which is, but as a matter of fact, this will be, I don't know if you can focus on this, but
I have
I'll
very
show you-
high tech equipment. I'm sure I can.
I'll show you a material dilemma right now. It's not because I pretty much record all the song ideas on. Can you get that?
I can. I can even focus it, I think. Okay. Oh, wow. Let's just sit here and listen to them all. Is that cool?
I've literally gone through these on
Oh my
flights.
God.
On flights back from Asia, and that's how long it took to get through it all. I think that's all 200 something of them.
You should totally do the opposite of what everyone does and release a 200 song album. Right? Because everyone's doing like the 2-song, well, not the 2-song, like the 4-song EP or the, some do a 3-song EP, which is like really kind of lazy.
Yeah, it is. That's not. That's the problem with this whole process is we're trying to narrow down. And when we made the EP, the big challenge was there was so much material there, and a lot of it, when you write in kind of groupings, and sometimes I'll write just by myself. Sometimes I'll use co-writers that I work with, and sometimes we just write as a band. And each of those, within that process, the music all has a very, very different feel depending on who you're collaborating with. So we said, this time let's pick like 6 songs that just have a certain coherence to them, and let's go with that. And then shortly thereafter go in and make the next one. So the idea was really to start recording an EP every 6, 7, 8 months, time permitting. So the problem is it's just the material just keeps coming together, and it's it's really, really hard to decide what to put out and what not to put out.
I guess
so
it's
this one, I let the producer choose. Basically, I said you pick the 6 because I
really.
yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it was.
I mean, I guess it. And you're cool with the 6 songs?
Yeah, it was because they were all pretty. The songs were really all developed pretty fully in terms of the kind of shape that they were in when going into the studio. A lot of times you'll go into the studio and you'll have a couple ideas, and then you flush things out as part of the process, and that's a fun way to make records. But at the same time, it had been really over 2 years since we released our debut, and we felt, number one, it's time to get stuff out. Number two, we've got the songs already, so let's at least get 6 of them out there and start pushing in the musical direction that we'd like to start going towards. And then in the meantime, just start thinking ahead to the next one. Do we want to do a full album? Do we want to do an EP? Because it's also hard these days because we're getting back into a singles culture.
It's true.
And on the one hand, you kind of have to have an album, and in our case, because we think we've got probably a couple albums full of solid material, it's a little. A part of us really wants to go and just keep making albums and albums and albums, but at the same time you have to be cognizant of just the way people are listening and approaching.
Yeah, I mean the industry is release a single, and then release an EP,
Yeah, right.
and then maybe release a full length.
Yeah, so it almost seems to change every year or two as well. So that really is it's a challenge for us, really, more than like the material, just how to get it out there.
I would say in the past year, though, I mean, I'm seeing more and more full lengths, which I guess is nice. I mean, definitely, EPs. Everyone's doing EPs, and they've always done EPs, but not this often. But I've noticed, a lot of bands full length, and I'm like, so when I automatically I just say, so when's the EP coming out? Like that's just where my mindset is.
Yeah, the way that we approach it is we're really quality focused in terms of the output, and it's not for us just putting out volumes of material. Because I mean, how many times do you buy albums where you get two decent cuts on it, and then the rest of it is just filler? So we try to be conscious of sticking to the principle of not putting fillers on records. Not everything's going to be a single, not everything is a song that somebody's going to be walking down the street singing, but we don't want any shit on the record.
Right.
If you like the style of music.
Right.
So that we're really, really, really conscious of. Just not to allow, just trim all the fat.
Well, you're kind of in the minority, unfortunately.
Yeah, but
it's
because otherwise it's, people have to listen to this stuff, and if you want to be self-indulgent about it, you can just be in the studio yourself, and you can make demos until the day you die, and I do like Prince does, and that just to record everything you do, and just have 15, 20, 30 albums sitting on the shelf, and just release them whenever the fuck you feel like it.
Right.
But, if you try to take into consideration the fact that there's an audience, and, I mean, I could write 5 songs for you right now, but that doesn't mean it would be good.
All right, let's do it together.
People should-
I'll give you some words. I don't know. I can come up with something. Like it's hot in this room, in my sweater that I'm wearing. Can we start with that?
We listed as a co-writer.
Awesome. That implies that it's going to make the cut. So thank you. Thanks for that. Thank you for having some faith in me. So, all right. So the EP's out. Came out last month, and you're going to go on the road. I'm assuming beginning of the new year, right?
Yeah, probably beginning next year. We're starting to figure out what tour schedule's going to look like and everything like that. So
It's so crazy because you just put out an EP. You're going to go on tour, and then you're going to probably cut another album, right? It's just kind of like a circular thing every year from here.
Production on the next one before we go on tour. So that's
Okay.
It's in a sense, as a writer, I've got that curse / blessing of just always having material coming out,
Right.
Which is great on the one hand, but at the same time, you kind of get ants in your pants in terms of really wanting to develop it, wanting to take it in to the studio with a band. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge trying to balance those two kind of opposing instincts.
Are you going to test drive some of the songs off the full length? I'm assuming on the tour.
Off which
The upcoming, I should say. The upcoming.
Yeah, we may. Yeah, because we're also starting to write more collectively, and especially Max and I, who's our drummer.
Yeah.
We've, just the two of us have started just getting into a room and really just working off some of his grooves, which is giving the music a very interesting feel, and that lends itself immediately to taking out because the vibe is already there. A lot of times when you're just writing a song on the acoustic guitar, the song can be fundamentally solid as a song, but how you approach it, you can take so many different.
Right.
You can come at it from so many different angles. You can slow it down. You can go full balls to the wall rock version. You can make it danceable. It's just a good song is.
Play it in a classroom on a classical
if
guitar.
If the song is there, it's really up to the musicians to interpret it. And so when you're writing with a band, the feel is already there. So some of those things we can just really, really easily throw into the set and get a sense of how people respond to it. If it gets people off their butts and gets some asses shaking, or if people start texting, stay seated in their bar stools.
Jeez, I can't stand
we know
those
it's
people.
probably time to move on.
Yeah. Well, it's time for them to move on with life. Anyway, okay.
No, the audience is always right. The listener's always right. We just put shit out there and see what sticks.
See what sticks, yeah.
You can't be the judge of your own music.
Cool, man. Well, thanks. Thanks for coming.
Pleasure.